Hey up everybody, welcome back to the I'll Do Cycling YouTube channel, where today going to be doing a short preview for the Giro del Veneto, the second to last race in the superclasico series and also the second to last Velogames competition of the year. So obviously not many opportunities left to try and increase your standing in the superclasico, but we can try and end on a high for the season. So let's talk about some riders and see if we can make a good team to try and win this race. So the more expensive riders, Kuznefroid, Matthews, Nizzolo, Trentin, the route has changed from last year. So of course Trentin won this race last year, but that was off of a descent, off of a final climb, whereas actually it finishes at the top of the climb this time, which is something like 800 metres at 7-8%. I can't exactly remember the exact details of the climb, but that's about what it is. So definitely one for the punchers. So I don't think that a Nizzolo or a Trentin are that great of choice, because it just doesn't suit them particularly. I think Matthews and Kuznefroid are a bit of a push. I think that Matthews hasn't looked great recently, neither has Kuznefroid. And a lot of these races, it's generally people who are just in form who do quite well. I would say Kuznefroid's a decent enough one. He does have this ability to just pull out a good performance out of the blue. So I'd say that Kuznefroid's alright. I just think that Jaco Alou have got some other options in like Sobrero and Filippo Zana who are just better, to be honest with you, at the moment. So, but they might go with Matthews. Honestly, they might try go with Matthews. I think they tried to do it at Benocchi where Wout van Aert won. So maybe they go with Matthews. I'm not too sure. I do quite like some of the other. I like some of the other UAE riders like Ulissi and Hershey and Formolo. I think that if UAE set pace and try and reduce this down to a smaller group, that UAE will have a very good shot of getting multiple riders inside the top 10. And I think Hershey's probably the guy who everybody's going to be picking. He's almost like a must-have. Ulissi I like as well. And Formolo's a bit like maybe, maybe not. So that's kind of my opinion of the UAE guys. I would be surprised if UAE didn't win this race, to be honest with you. I think that as sort of a part Italian team, they've got a bit of Italian heritage from the Lampre era where they came from. I think that UAE is probably a good choice to maybe back one or two riders on their team. Van der Lam, I like, he's been very consistent recently, finishing between 10th and 20th in a lot of these Italian races. And so I think that he'll probably do something similar, maybe also crack the top 10. I think that Van der Lam's good. I would argue that maybe I'd prefer Van der Lam over Kuznefroid based upon recent form. Corbin Strong, very good at the Circuit Franco-Belge and the Tour of Luxembourg, which are very puncher races. But then in the recent Italian races, he's just been not on the money. And I can't figure out why. If anybody knows, then please tell us all, because I can't figure it out. Those races, like the one which Wout van Aert won, I would have thought Corbin Strong would be really good for that, or to Valle Vallecine or whatever, but he just wasn't. So I don't really know what's going on with that. But Corbin Strong on paper seems like a good choice. Florian Vermeersch just finished second at the Gravel World Champs despite having a puncture. Another rider who a lot of people will be picking, I expect, will be Andreas Kron. After all, he finished 10th at Lombardia, which is a really good performance for a rider who isn't massively suited to that sort of terrain. It shows that he's got some fantastic climbing legs at the moment. So I think Kron and Hershey are sort of the must-haves for a lot of teams. And then it's a bit of like who you really like after that. Scaroni and Velasco, a good double header for Astana. Haven't quite shown the best form recently. Scaroni was 7th at the Coppa Benocchi, where Wout won. Velasco, last time he did good was in Montreal. So they might pull a good performance out, but I would be more willing to back other riders. I mean, if you really want to go full UE, you could go Jan Christen if you were that way inclined. I probably wouldn't recommend it. Tobias Harland Johannesson is another fantastic pick for a lot of teams. He will, I would expect, finish top 10 in this race outside of like any crashing or whatever. So I think he's a really good one alongside Hershey and Kron. Then you got Aldani. He's also, I'd say he's probably the best shot that Alpecin have to do good in this race. And he can definitely get up these sorts of climbs. I don't think a win is that likely, but I think that a top 10, top 15 is certainly doable. Nick Schultz I really like, just because I think he was 15th at Lombardia. He's shown some really good form recently, as have just a lot of Israel Premier Tech riders. So I think they've just got the ball rolling. Unfortunately, whilst the season is coming to a close. But I think Nick Schultz is a really good one as well. I've got him on my team at the moment. Filippo Zana I like as well. Probably one of the better choices for the Jacob Alula team, considering that Matthews hasn't been that great. And if a move does go and Matthews isn't in it, I would expect Zana to probably fulfil that sort of attacking role. And then outside of them, there's not a lot of 6 credit riders that I really like. I think that the winning team won't cost 100 credits. I think that it will be less than that. So don't feel a need to go to 100 credits. Tesfazion is not a bad one, although he hasn't been that great recently. Van Aertvelt hasn't been showing great form recently, but it's a race which in theory suits him quite well. And then moving into the 4 credit riders, I do like Piganzoli for Aolo Cometa. He was top 30 at Lombardia, shown some good form recently. I think he was about 16th place at Giro dell'Emilia, so I think Piganzoli's a good one as well. And yeah, that's about it. So I'd say that if you have Hershey, Kron and Tobias Highland Johannesson, that's a really good base. And then just kind of go wild with gut feeling and just whoever you would like to kind of just like put a bit of a left field bet on. And that's about it for my recommendations. There is of course one race left to go, which is the Veneto Classic. That'll be coming out in the next couple of days, although I do have laser eye surgery tomorrow. So whether I'll actually feel up to doing one or not, I don't really know. But we'll wait and see. I'll try my best to get a video out. After all, it is the last competition of the year. But let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. I do apologise for not getting back to the comments section on the Paris Tours one. I will make an effort to try and respond to them this evening or tomorrow morning before the race. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there. And I'll see you in the next video. Salut!